Hello, everyone. Want to welcome you to our eShow webinar, Best Practices for Successful Event Registration. Going to give it a couple seconds here, let everybody kind of get situated, get aligned into the room, and we will get started. Feel free to jump in the chat, say hello, say if you are a current eShow client, if you are a client that is potentially looking to come into the eShow family, we'd love to see you in the chat and say hello to you. All right, I think we will go ahead and get going. I want to thank you. My name is Lawrence Gibbons. I am the Director of On-Site Technology for eShow. Basically, I've been with eShow for 8 years. I've been a part of this operation for a long time now. I've been in the industry for roughly 20 years. I did a count the other day, and I think in my lifetime, I've done over 400 on-sites, whether being a part of it or being a supervisory type situation. So hopefully what I can do in my role today is present to you a lot of information that'll be helpful to you when you're starting to plan your registration and your on-sites. I've got my cohort with me, Brandon Schnoffer. Brandon, go ahead and take over and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brandon. I'm the Assistant Director of Meetings at eShow. I've been with eShow for about 7 years now. Prior to that, done a lot of different types of events, running events, trade shows, etc. Today, I'm going to be talking about efficient registration processes along with system use and software enhancement.
Awesome. Thanks for being here with me, Brandon. Okay, just want to give you a little bit of information about eShow. Basically, we're your end-to-end, event management software solution platform. We host a lot of different products that help you manage your event on the back end, whether it's coming from registrations, coming from exhibits, mobile websites, conference planning, logistics, the whole 9 yards. We are one of the only end-to-end within the same house platform industry, a company within the industry. eShow's been around for 28 years. What we're really going to focus on today and what's a core part of what your management and your system is basically having an effortless registration, whether it comes to your team on the back end for setup or whether it's from the user for the user that's actually registering for the show. We hope to help you gain some increased engagement with your actual events and showing you best processes for how to do that. And then once you kind of use the system, you have all kind of metrics and valuable data that will come to you from basically using our system. I'm going to go ahead and hand off to Brandon and let Brandon take over the first part, and then I'll slide back in later on and kind of talk about the on-site experience. Take over, Brandon.
Thanks, Lawrence. As Lawrence mentioned, today we're going to discuss some strategies on registration workflow, techniques to enhance engagement, and ways to leverage on-site technology. First, we're going to discuss the online registration process. Every successful event begins with a smooth registration process. Our overarching goal at eShow is to help you create an efficient yet effective process. When this happens, you end up with what feels like an effortless registration experience. Combine this with personalized attendee engagement, and you'll create something people will get excited about. I'm going to provide a quick overview of our registration platforms along with some tips and tricks that will help you maximize the end user experience. Our advanced registration system is our bread and butter. It's a highly customizable and robust tool. We also offer integration packages that allow for a smooth transition of data in and out of our system. And there are endless ways to collect additional demographic information. When building out your form, it's imperative to think about every aspect of the attendee experience. Once we've collected this information, it can be utilized anywhere within the system, such as tailored communications, the badge design, our mobile app, session certificates, etc. Proper demographic collection is the starting point to creating a unique experience for your registrants. Our registration fees and sales items can be built to suit any pricing structure, and this is where your form's organization and functionality matters the most. The key to a smooth attendee experience is simplicity. The last thing your attendees want to see after filling out their personal information is an endless wall of sales items. eShow's Form Builder accounts for numerous ways to hide and display sales items. And when properly utilized, you provide your attendees with a simplistic yet effective registration experience. We also offer solutions for guest and group registrations as well, And I want to touch on one of the methods, which we call purchased promo codes. This approach allows individuals to purchase a specific quantity of a sales item. Once they complete their registration, they would receive a promo code that is unique to that group. They can simply distribute their group code, and it allows its users to register themselves on behalf of the group. Purchase promo codes are extremely convenient as it allows the primary registrant to effectively pay for a group while giving the group individual members control over their registration. This process provides one of the most effortless group registration experiences I've seen. I also want to touch on some of the unique functionality of our advanced registration module. Items such as banquet and table selection, specialized golf registration steps, networking features, and even a housing selection option, which allows attendees to register for their event and book their hotel in one streamlined process. It's important to note that advanced registration is not just for attendees. We offer booth staff and speaker-focused templates, which pull data from our exhibitor and conference modules, creating a simplified process for everyone. While a registration module provides you with customization and possibly more features than you would ever utilize, its biggest benefit is our customer service. Our advanced registration module includes an experienced registration manager to work alongside you, assisting with the build, training your staff, and are prepared to work through your most difficult registration questions with you. This is not just a standard customer support team. All of our registration managers are hired from within the industry. Having built and supported registration forms for nearly every type of event, our team is able to provide invaluable feedback on your registration process. And if you're looking for a more simplistic platform, we also offer a eReg module. You can still create forms tailored to your attendees with the ability to customize demographic collection and sales item selection, as well as create your own website using our web builder tool. eReg offers an easy-to-use reporting system and a badge setup that allows you to print directly from your show's dashboard. This product also includes a support system backed by staff who are ready to answer any of your system-related questions. And now I want to move on to financials. Data security is more important than ever, especially when dealing with financial information. Being able to provide your attendees with peace of mind as they register is essential. A safe event registration is a successful event registration. eShow is integrated with most major payment vendors, providing a secure method to collect payments and manage your financials. Our system simply acts as a tunnel between your attendee and your merchant account. Their payment information is processed directly through your vendor. We also accept a variety of payment methods, such as credit cards, check, wire transfer, credit voucher, PO, e-check, money order. I can go on. At eShow, we recognize that one solution does not always work for all events, so we offer payment solutions to fit everyone's needs. This includes processing fees, down payments to a fixed dollar value or percentage, invoicing options, and the ability to allow multiple payment methods on a single transaction. And all of this can be done across multiple currencies, assuming your payment gateway is compatible. Our platform offers the payment functionality you want as an event manager and provides the security your attendees expect. Next, we're going to discuss attendee engagement. While there are many factors that go into creating a successful registration experience, communication and attendee engagement sits at the top. You can't assume that your audience will retain a piece of information they've only seen one time. I learned this early on in my career when I was organizing and running events, that one arrow on the ground will never provide enough of visibility for all of your audience. It's important that information needs to be available across multiple channels. Our eBlast system allows you to narrow in on a specific audience using data that already exists within our system. You have the ability to create a custom attendee list and use that list across all of your email communications, making it incredibly easy to distribute information about specific events, sessions, or meetings. Any existing data can also be pulled into the email with the use of our extensive list of merge fields. Custom messages can be displayed to those that purchase specific fees as well. And our eBlast setup offers source code editing, allowing for endless customization with the use of HTML. Two items that are not mentioned on this slide is our website tool and our mobile app. We offer a variety of templated web pages, giving you the ability to add custom content or effortlessly display event information already within the system. Our mobile app also offers targeted push notifications and the ability to link any web page directly to the app. As event managers, it's your duty to guide the attendees through the event experience. The numerous communication outlets eShow offers makes that incredibly easy for you. Next, we're going to cover our service center. And now that you have a straightforward and intuitive registration process laid out, it's important to create continuity throughout the life cycle of your event. A smooth registration experience will quickly be overlooked if your attendees have to jump through hoops to make simple updates. eShow Service Center provides an easy access point for your attendees to make edits to their profile, submit payments, transfer or cancel their registration, manage their group, and view information that only your attendees should have access to. After registering, attendees will receive a confirmation email with an encrypted password that grants them access to our service center. The internal pages can be tailored to allow full control over their profile. This can also be limited to only support certain functions depending on your business rules. If you allow group registration, the primary registrant can be given access to fully manage their group from the service center. This feature is incredibly convenient and time-saving when working with large groups. Certain content can easily be protected from public view by simply adding a web page behind the password-protected service center. Our service centers give your attendees the freedom to effortlessly make changes on their profile while also removing a large burden from your team and having to manually make these kinds of updates. Next, we're going to move on to badge management. And before I hand this off to Lawrence, I want to revisit the way your attendee data flows throughout our system. Our badge management tool encourages individualized badge content that includes unique color bars, qualifiers for giveaways or session selection, purchased items, and more. With over 100 available merge fields, we're able to create a badge that is truly unique. And now I'm going to hand it off to Lawrence to cover on-site technology and best practices.
Awesome job, Brad. I think some great information out there. So a lot of people kind of neglect what they use for, like, what they're making a decision for the badge itself. Actually, go back to the badge slide if you don't mind for me, please. Yeah, thank you. Perfect. So when you're considering your badge, right, you need to really consider the scope of your actual event to, like, decide what badge you want to use, right? If you have a long event, right, maybe you want to look for something that has a little bit more durability to it, a little bit more wear and tear availability, or even maybe even souvenir quality, right? Do you have tickets that are come for your events, right? Do you need drink tickets? Do you need some kind of like banquet dinners for your lunches, right? That's a consideration that you want to take when you're like looking for what badge you want to use. So make sure when you're actually looking at making your badging decisions, whether you're talking to your salesperson or your registration manager, that you're actually giving that kind of input back when it comes. And then our team can then come to you and say, hey, here's the badge options that we have available. It might be a plastic badge. It might be a fan fold badge where you need a dual-sided, but you need some versatility in the printing and some of the options that are available. Maybe you need speed, right? You have a show that is 7,000, 10,000, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people, right? And you need to expedite the process of getting people through. You need to take that in consideration because different badges print at different speeds. Same thing with your segmentation of your badge, right? You can actually use your badge to differentiate between which your different registration types are, right? It doesn't necessarily just have to be a printed name that denotes which one of your attendees are speakers, vendors, exhibitors, right? You can do that with different imagery. You can do that with different coloring. You can do it with ribbon codes and things along those lines as well, too. We also want to make sure that you also know that a huge part of what we do, and I actually found this kind of weird as I kind of attend other events and work with other things. One of the first things I do is I actually scan the QR code or the barcode that's on the actual registration, right? I have found that 90% of these are not encrypted, right? A lot of these badges have information that's readily available with any kind of phone that is scanned. eShow doesn't do that, right? We encrypt our badges to a military-grade encryption so that any of the information that's proprietary to your actual attendees is kept private and is only used by people who are sanctioned to be a part of that event. Now we can go ahead and change slides. Perfect. So having a mobile app is actually a huge part of being able to start the registration process, right? Think of the mobile app as a centralized hub to kind of bring all of your registrants together and to also give them access to all the things that they have registered for. You can actually have the mobile app and actually have people be able to do registrations on site. If you have a great, like Brandon said, a very streamlined type form, instead of them waiting in a line if they haven't registered, if they've gotten to sites, we're finding more and more people are now waiting less and less time to register. It used to be people would register 6 months in advance, hopefully 3 months in advance. Now we still have a ton of people that are doing walk-up registrations, right? Make sure you have a form that actually works with the mobile app where people can actually register on their mobile app, then walk up seamlessly to one of our registration points and then print out their badge. It gives them information related to their registration at all times, right? What classes they've signed up for, schedules, bus routes, conferences, when the keynotes are, gives you opportunity for sponsorships. That mobile app should be considered an extension of that registration process for you. It also allows you to actually be able to do an express check-in as well too. How often have you seen people when they've come up and they're fumbling looking for the registration? Oh, I can't remember what I registered as. Oh, I can't remember what name I used. Did I use Bob or did I use Robert? Within our mobile app, you can actually have a seamless QR code that is populated and kept within that app at all times. They can walk up, scan that QR code, and badge spits out seconds later, right? Again, streamlining that check-in process. You can also do real-time messaging, right? You can always push notifications through the mobile app that sends out vital information to the people that are registered to the show. It allows you seamless communications at all points from the time that mobile app goes live all the way out throughout the conclusion of the show and then even post-show as well. The next slide, please. So planning for on-site, right? So like I said, I've been a part of 400 plus on-site and registrations or different types of events, right? And there's some things that you kind of take for granted when you're like planning out your on-site. But I always want people to remember, registration technically is kind of the first experience they have when they get on site, right? It literally can set the tone for your show, whether in a good way or in a bad way, right? If you have a dynamic registration that is bright, eye-popping, and catching, and has energy to it, and people experience a seamless check-in experience, right? They're walking up, they're able to produce a badge really fast. That is going to set the tone for the rest of the show. It is human nature to remember something negative more so than it is positive. So you always want to make sure that they do not have a negative experience when they first walk up. So you want to choose an area that is high visibility, number one. How easy is it to find, right? You don't want people wandering around, stumbling, trying to find where the registration is. You also want to have clear signage as well, too. Have good directionals. How many times you're at a convention center, and maybe you're sharing that space with someone else, or you've been at a registration area and someone else, when I read the show, has walked up, they've tried to check in, you can't find them, they can't produce a document. You figure out 5 minutes later that that person is at the wrong show, right? Make sure you've got good branding, good directionals, letting people know where to go. Also, you want to optimize your traffic flow. I'm going to throw something at you that's going to sound incredibly crazy, but get rid of stanchions if you can, especially in your express areas. Stanchions are pre-designed in people's heads at this point now to think, I've got to walk through a line, I've got to stand in a line. Theoretically speaking, at an express area, a transaction should take less than 1 minute. They walk up, either type in a name, scan a QR code, badge spits out. You want to make that process so much more efficient. By swinging people through stanchion lines and rope lines, it actually creates more of a transaction, right? Because they have to weave in and out of the lines. They have to then, maybe in their heads, they're thinking, I've got to stand through that, or why do I have to walk through this? Express areas should be well thought out, planned. Get away from linear setups as well, too, with your express. When you have a linear setup, you only have one ingress point, one egress point. By having it open-sided, so if you have a pod of 4, 2 stations on one side, printers on each end, people can walk up from any direction. By not having a stanchion, the people who are most ready to walk up and get a badge can walk up immediately, scan their badge, while people who are still not quite ready aren't queued in a line and then slowing down people behind them as well, too. Consider that. With your on-site, for people who haven't registered or people need to make edits, consider using things like self-registration stations, right? We have that ability here at eShow where you can create a version of the form that allows people to register themselves, because there is nothing more efficient. I don't care how slow of a typer you are as an individual, you still know your information better than someone else you're trying to relay that to. So whether you've had them pre-fill out a form, which again takes up more time, everybody's handwriting is different and everyone's handwriting is degraded at this point because we type so much. Handing that form to someone else or trying to relay that information takes a lot more time. Optimize to take advantage of having self-registration kiosks. It will also reduce your load of how much staffing you have to have, whether you're whether you're contracting for temp workers or whether you have to have your own dedicated staff, right? You can minimize that by having a supervisor from your actual team overseeing, and then having maybe 1 or 2 stations that need to be manned by a human, but then maximizing how many of those stations can be available for people to actually register themselves. Utilize our team, right? That's what eShow is there for. Talk to us. Talk to us about your show. Tell us about your show. How many people pre-register for a show? How many people typically will register in advance? We can maximize all this for you if you give us the data point. We are there to be part of your planning team. We're not just not just a software company. We are there actually to help you actually execute your show and make it better. We do hundreds of these shows a year. We probably have some insights in some way or another, no matter how many times you've done your show, that we could probably pass on to you and say, hey, we have a show that does it this way, and we found out that it's much more efficient. Go ahead and give me the next slide, please. So with your registration area, also think of it as a massive revenue opportunity, right? Think about it. That's the one centralized area where everyone who attends that show has to come to if they're registered, right? Attendee, vendor, exhibitor, sponsor, whatever. They have to come through registration. They've got to get a badge. Maximize your opportunities to address revenue there. We have now interactive digital devices that will give you maximum real estate to also do digital activations of sponsorships, right? So you've already had your abilities to be able to do printed media for when it comes to advancing your sponsorship opportunity. You have your meter boards, you have the counters themselves, but by enacting interactive digital devices, right, it no longer has to be a static image. You can do rotating images. You can change them out by day. You can actually even do video presentations. By doing these enhanced versions, you're also now activating and catching the interest of people who are now maybe say in a younger demographic, right? One of the biggest concerns we have in our industry is how do we engage younger people, right? They have a much shorter attention span. They're more impressed by digital interactive type devices. So you make sure you want to do those and include that into your process when you're having on-site. Again, thinking about registration as the launch point for the show. So incorporating some of this technology to your registration area will enhance that process. You also have branding opportunities on the badge. It may seem very simple, but I've talked to a lot of people and they've never considered it before, right? Especially if you have a 2-sided badge. If you have like one of our fan fold badges, it folds over on itself, you can have your registration information on the front side, 4x6, readily available. But then the back side is a massive sponsorship opportunity. Again, think about it. Everyone that attends the show has to have a badge. Take advantage of that real estate and turn it into a sponsorship opportunity. And then again, the mobile app itself is another place. Usually we see that somewhere between 75 and 85% of all attendee bases will actually download the mobile app and use it. That is a large basis to include sponsorship opportunities in there, and then multiple ones, right? You can activate those across platforms. It doesn't have to be dedicated to one. You can have the splash page be a sponsorship. You can have any of the individual web pages that are included, informational pages along with that for a revenue opportunity. So think about all of these different aspects of registration as part of your sponsorship package, right, that you start using. Next slide, please. All right, on-site support, huge, right? Oddly enough, when talking to them, so when I'm on site with people, I love to talk to them about their shows. I really do have a passion for this, right? And I always ask people if they're a new time client or someone who is who's coming over from another company, or maybe they're using our software before, what did you use? What was your experience, right? And it is amazing to me about how many different other companies don't offer on-site support. They will offer it either at a massive premium or an additional charge, and I'm talking massive, or they just don't even offer it, right? It's phone call support, or it's mobile support, or it's text support. With eShow, you get a dedicated team that comes with you. You get from Brandon's team, you get a registration manager that's help you navigate that platform and help with any kind of changes that need to be done on the fly. Because like I said, no matter how well you prepare for a show, excuse me, sorry about that, trains passing by at this time of day. No matter how well you plan for a show, something's going to jump that needs to be changed on dynamic. Oh, we forgot to do this. Oh, one department forgot to relay some information. We need to make a change to the registration to reflect that people can get access into this specific session or this specific area, right? You kind of need someone there to kind of navigate that with you on the fly to make sure it's executed immediately and properly, right? So there's no glitches in between. eShow provides that. As well, you get part of my team as well too, the technology team. We're there to support the hardware setup. We're there to make sure that your equipment is laid out properly, that you have the best and everything is functioning, make sure printers are good to go, badges are creating at the same time. If there's any kind of hiccups, you're not the one managing it, right? You guys aren't experts in hardware. That's what we're here for. We send a dedicated team there. We don't expect you to have to manage doing this all across for yourself. As well, our team provides training as well too. So our team is there to support your persons on your registration side by giving them training on the system, on the on-site, because it is a little bit more of a streamlined system, a little bit different than you're working with an admin, because you don't quite need the full power of that on-site. But you still want to have someone there who's an expert at it to help you navigate any kind of changes or any kind of wonky situations that come up. No matter what, again, no matter how much you prepare and plan, there's going to be some of that one use case scenario where you're going to need a super user that's able to help you kind of navigate through getting the changes or corrections that you need on site. And like I said, and then we're there the whole time, right? We don't actually just pop up for a day or so and kind of like disappear for the rest of the show, then come back at the end. We're there when you're there. We're there to make sure that your experience is as seamless as possible and that you're supported in every single way that you need once we get on site. Let me get the next slide, please. All right, perfect. Looks like we are into our Q&A section here. I know that I've seen a couple kind of pop up, and I'm going to open up my chat here. And Brandon, I'll kind of read out some of the ones that kind of pertain to both of us here. The first one is, we got one from Andy, and she's asking, speaking of credit card processing, Brandon, so it's kind of touches to what you said, and as well, actually kind of hit towards me as well too. Is there an option for a swipe or a chip reader to incorporate with the on-site registration to eliminate the manual entry and speed up the process? I will go ahead and grab part of that. So yes, actually, Andy, we are. We used to have credit card swipers, but then a lot of the back-end processors stopped accepting that as a primary form, right? It's they want you to have the chip for either tapping or inserting. We are working at actually getting new terminals that will actually do that for credit card processing. It is a bit of a process because you're having to increase a little bit of your internet needs. And so we're trying to mitigate that, right? We know that internet, oddly enough, is one of the most expensive things when it comes to just like a single process for you guys to use on site. So we want to make sure that we've got that process optimized for you. We want to make sure that our portal works with the different portals that work. So we are rolling that. We are looking to maybe spinning that out towards the middle of this year of being able to offer that for our shows. Brandon, do you have anything?
I also want to add in, since we're discussing efficiency here, obviously we don't want to clog up our lines with people coming through and registering, entering payment information, and potentially personal information. A lot of times what we've seen work really well is using QR codes before you even get in line, routing people to the registration form. And they can access that registration form directly on their phone. They can submit payment. By the time they get to that line, their badge is ready. They're already in the system. So it's a pretty effective method as far as, getting around creating additional lines of people trying to register.
Yeah, I was going to say, usually preparation is the best solution for anything, right? Yeah. Making sure that you have created the best processes for getting as many people registered ahead of time beforehand. And again, once you've gotten on site, streamlining the process, like you said, coming maybe eliminating some of the demographic questions that aren't necessarily needed for the function of the show, right? If you don't have a major networking or a smart matching component, maybe you could strip off a couple of those questions off there that typically slow down some of the process. All right, we've got another question. Do you support events that happen outside of the U.S.? Brandon, we both can answer this, and I'll let you go first.
Yes, absolutely. We do support events outside of the United States. We frequent outside a couple times a year, typically. We're prepared to go to any country.
We are heavily in Canada, so we do a lot of Canadian shows every year. We're in Europe multiple times a year. Latin America, we've done China as well too. So we are well versed in executing shows in there, making sure that equipment that's needed to get there gets there in time. Clearing through customs, which is a huge thing. Making sure that you have if you have international shows, working with a vendor that has the ability to actually be able to get people on site on the ground and be able to navigate the international travel, as well as making sure logistically that the necessary equipment gets to where it needs to be.
So we have two questions about badges. Lawrence, I can take the first if you want to take the second here.
Sure. Go ahead.
Perfect. So can we make edits or changes to the badge on site in the tablet if we use tablets on site? So two separate questions here. The edits are not made directly on the tablets. The tablets are means of communication with your attendee base. However, we do have a server on site, and badge edits can be made immediately on site through our server that your registration manager has access to. And Lawrence, I'll read the second one for you. What type of badge has a speedier printing process, paper or plastic?
Technically, it depends on what you're printing. So if you've pre-printed part of your graphic, so say if you have a dynamic, a static graphic, right? Your brand show branding is going to be consistent and it's not going to change, and you pre-print that. Technically, both of them are about the same speed when it comes down to it, because at that point, you're just adding text, right? You're adding the demographic information, first name, last name, our unique QR code that goes with it. If you want any titles, company names, things like that, which are being printed as text, right? Both of them are pretty much efficiently the same. If you had, for some reason, needed a dynamic graphic where, say, that you really need to differentiate between the difference between an exhibitor and an attendee, right? It's the same branding, but maybe the attendee's badge is blue, the exhibitor's badge is red, right? That actually is what causes a little bit more of a printing time difference, but it's not a massive difference. All you do is basically you're printing the full graphic on demand. So it's more so what's faster is, are you able to basically say, all I really need to do is have changing information as the person specific to the badge is the only thing that's changing, as opposed to the graphic itself. So theoretically, you could have either one of them, just depending on what your needs are for that. But they're both still pretty fast. It's not like there's a major difference. You're talking a difference from a badge spitting out an equivalent of 1 second as opposed to 4 seconds is the difference. Now, if you have 20,000 people that are registered, that time starts adding up, right? So that's kind of the negligible difference between the two. We had another question. Okay, what does your team do on site? So I lightly touched on this. Client says that I do multiple events a year. Oh, excuse me. There's two separate questions. So Brandon, what does your team do on site? I'll let you talk to that because your team has I'll let you talk to that side, but I'll talk to my side a little bit more.
Perfect. Thanks, Lawrence. On site, your registration manager is primarily there to help support our software and our system. They are ready and available in case issues or concerns do come up. You were asked about badge edits on the site. They can edit the badge. They can create separate forms for you if you're looking for something simplistic. Anything within the system, they're available to assist you with. They also train your temp staff on our system and support that throughout the life cycle of your event. So if things come up, questions are going to come up that are not standard, something that maybe isn't happening very often within the system, will be available at all times to support your staff and your temp services, or your if it is your staff, with the use of our system.
Awesome. And basically what my team does, like I said, we're the technical component, right? We're the hardware. We are there to basically set up your registration area, make sure everything looks nice and tidy, make sure everything's up and working, helping to make sure that these systems are secure and good to go. We are there to make sure badge printing goes smoothly. I know if you've even worked with a basic printer, right, just a regular printer in your office, you know how difficult those can be sometimes, right? They're incredibly temperamental. Well, what we use are commercial industrial grade printers, right? There's no way we expect you to be able to take these, set them up, put the back end in properly, set up all the drivers properly for efficiency, right? That's what my team is there for. We're to handle that component to make sure that you literally can sit back and just make sure that you're focusing on your attendees' experience, greeting your people, things along those lines. So that's kind of what my team does when it comes to the on-site portion. And then any kind of peripheral tech kind of things. You have session tracking involved, behavioral tracking. My team will set up that, set your team up for success for that. Make sure all the devices are properly aligned to where they need to be, testing, then training your staff on how to use them as well, too.
It's important to note that both our on-site technical staff as well as our software team, that we are actively monitoring the system as the days go on. So we're being as proactive as possible to make sure occurrences don't happen. We want to make sure that you have an extremely smooth experience, and part of that is foreseeing anything that might come up.
Yeah, very much so. We operate to be proactive instead of reactive. That's pretty much like how we want to do. And that's kind of what our team is doing, right? We're focusing on making sure that everything is up and running and getting ahead of any potential situations if they pop up. All right, got another good one here too. Actually, Brandon, this one's 100% on you, so I'll let you grab this one. I do multiple events a year. Do I have to rebuild my show every single time?
It depends on your events. I will say we have a rollover process that's very smooth within our system. If you are taking a very similar form, event over event, and you're just changing pricing and potentially some demographic information, it can be done extremely easy. Most of the time, it can be done directly by the client. Our staff doesn't even need to get involved. We are also absolutely able to do that for you. So no, it doesn't need to be rebuilt. We can easily roll over, your form build. That includes your badge design. That includes any reporting you're using from event to event. We want to make this as simple as we possibly can on you, as well as on us, because there's no point in recreating something that already exists.
All right, we got two more questions here at this point. Now, feel free to keep asking questions. We actually are going to have plenty of time to address any questions that anybody might have. Next question. We worked with a vendor that experienced an outage and caused our registration to be down for hours. How do you protect against that? I'll also grab that one. So that's actually part of what my team does, right? We operate a little bit differently than a lot of the other competitors with our space, people who are, work in the same area we do. Each show works with a hybrid type system. We have an on-site server, as Brandon mentioned, that basically houses all of your active data, right? So leading up to the show, you're doing everything in the cloud. And then once we get on site, we take all that information, create a copy, and basically put that on site. That's to ensure that if there is any kind of internet outage, we can still print badges. You can still register people, right? It also creates a secure network as well, too. By doing that, we are basically locked down our system, and it is legitimately just our system touching all of our devices, right? There's no exterior access to be had. There's no ports for people to jump into, right? We have a lot of different firewalls, a lot of different types of equipment that ensures that it is really hard to get access to people's data, right? So whether it's an outage of any kind of form, depending on wherever it comes from, we operate to be able to make sure that we are still able to print badges in some form or another. The only thing that technically take us down is basically a power outage, right? If power goes out in the city grid, then pretty much everything's down. But anything aside from that, we are able to make sure that, number one, that your information is secure, that, again, with the encrypted badge, to make sure that individuals' data is encrypted and saved and kept private on that side as well, too. And then, like you said, to be able to operate, within a time being of not having internet. We ask for internet at shows so that way that we can basically be able to duplicate and then back up all of the information that's available. So any kind of new registrations that are done on site to coincide with reporting as well too, we have a two-way sync, right? There's the on-site, and then we're syncing all the information and backing it up in the cloud. So if in case something happened to the on-site type server, maybe the room that we're in all of a sudden experienced a flood, and like overnight a pipe burst and the server got ruined and everything, all of your information is backed up on the cloud. We carry backup servers immediately. At that point, we can rebuild that server, get the system up and running again within a matter of minutes. So we take great pride and take a lot of steps to ensure that your on-site continues to keep churning. All right, we have another question. How long does it typically take to set up a registration at a hotel, conference site, or any kind of site? All the hardware, dropping the lines, etc. I'll start on this one, Brandon, and I'll let you circle back around on this one as well too. So we ask for a minimum of 4 hours just to do the install. Excuse me. And that's with opening the next day. It really depends on the size of your show, right? But the minimum 4 hours is basically, and you do have to consider the timeline like this. It's 4 hours that starts from the minute that the exhibitor has finished dropping the decorations, the fixtures in place, power has been dropped and done properly, and the internet has been dropped and then configured properly as well too. Because again, like I said, we have some security protocols that we request from the IT provider to make sure that we have a secure line, and then that we can make sure that your data is safe and secure. So once all those have been done, because we technically can't really do anything until they're all kind of in place, right? The fixtures kind of need to be in place so we can put the equipment out. We need the power to be there to be able to turn everything on, and then we need the internet to be there to make sure that the two-way sync is up and gunning. So we kind of need a minimum of 4 hours to do that for like a small show. For big shows, it can be much longer, right? Depending on how many workstations that you need. We like to operate with the premise of, and this is kind of one of these things that we've standardized, is that we do set up on one day, then we open the next day. That way, if there are any kind of things that were missed, if you had maybe some changes that were major changes that need to be done on the fly, we have to be able to test that, verify it, make sure it works good on the on-site system, and then make sure it's syncing properly to the backup on the web. Brandon, I'll let you jump in if you want to add anything on top of that.
Yeah, absolutely, Lawrence. So our main goal is to make sure that you have a successful event. And in doing so, we want to mitigate as much risk as possible. So anything that can introduce additional risk, we want to make sure that we have buffers built in to do so. Lawrence mentioned that we typically set up the day prior. No matter how large your setup is, we've always found that that is the best practice. That additional spend to get the space for a couple hours before is always well worth being able to ensure that you're going to be able to open and service your attendees.
No, that's a very good point. Basically, we like to hedge on the side of safety and caution, right? We want to make sure that you have a great experience, that everything is working well for you, and with that, oftentimes it comes with time, right? You definitely need time to be able to set things up properly. You're not rushing through. You're not missing things. Again, like I said, training as well too. Brandon staff needs that time to be able to train with your team. Basically get them up and running, make sure that they're comfortable with the teams. If you have temps that are coming in, they're basically new to a system, having them getting the time that they need. And like you say, you can use that time also, like you said, to do, pre-printing of any badges that needed to be done along those lines. It's kind of a good time within that same sector of space to kind of get some pre-stuff done as well too. So by the time you get to the live opening the next day, everything's good to go. You just walk in, you turn everything on, and you're comfortable and you've slept well and you know that everything's good to go. So you kind of need that time to build those reassurances into place. From what it looks like, I don't think we have, oh, nope, there's another question. Nope, it isn't. Yeah, thank you. All right. Brandon, is there anything else that you think maybe we have missed on or maybe you want to reinforce or talk about?
I mentioned it earlier, but I think one of the best advantages to our product and what we do is our support team. Our system is incredibly powerful, but our team is extremely knowledgeable in what they're doing. And I'm sure if you are a client, you've seen it yourself, but they will go to the end of the earth to make sure that what you're doing is supported and make sure that you have a successful experience. The knowledge they have is incredibly useful, and I highly recommend leaning on them in some instances to, provide valuable feedback based on what other clients might be doing, like Lawrence mentioned, or, what they've seen in the past work out really well.
I will add in also as well, communication is huge, right? Tell us about your shows, especially if you're a new client. Dig into the details. Don't think that anything is too small to mention. Something you might think of or just take for granted that actually happens at a show. Like, we need to know about that, right? Talk to your registration manager. Give them everything. Like, it may seem like it's too much information, but there's no such thing, right? Give us all the information about your show. Pains and positives. Tell us the positive things that have happened at your shows. Tell us the negative things that have happened at your shows, right? We have solutions in place that we can talk to and put into place to actually overcome some of those things as well. It's also worth your time to basically do kind of an assessment, right? If you think that maybe your on-site is maybe dated at this point, needs a refreshing, maybe you think that some of the processes or workflows that you've done in the past need to be refreshed, reach out and talk to us. Between myself and Brandon's team, we can sit down, assess your registration, kind of take an overview look at it, come up with some suggestions if we think that there are some workflow improvements that can be made. Maybe there's some gains that can be made in the registration. Also, what we're trying to do is, like I said, we're trying to use technology to help you kind of mitigate some of your costs as well too, right? A lot of our tech is meant in place so that you don't necessarily need to, like we used to have to back in the days, like where you had 50 temps that were at the registration area, right? One of the biggest expenses that comes from a show is manpower, right? What we are looking to do with a lot of our technology is to help you use technology to swap out some of that, right? So your express areas where you used to have dedicated bodies per every station, right? It's kind of set up to be able to select. So maybe you just have one or two people that are patrolling the area to help you kind of control the area, but not necessarily overstaff it. Same thing with self-registration, right? Having a dedicated body there to do a registration, which someone can do for themselves, you can immensely start nailing down some of those people and just having the minimum amount of people there just for, like you said, where it comes to client relations or edits that need to happen, handling a problem, talking to people one-on-one. Talk to us. We can find ways to help you save money by using technology to swap it out, right? And technology is consistent, right? We've always experienced with temps in the past, right? It's a 50-50 shot if they show up. 50-50 shot if they show up on time. Technology is going to be there from the beginning to the end, and it's going to work. So that's maybe one of the things I would like to leave as a closing thought. Talk to us about your needs across the board, and we can find ways to make processes for you much better. So I guess, oh yeah, awesome. Thanks. So like I said, reach out to us. You say use the QR code if you are not a current client. Talk to our sales team. They'll be happy to walk you through any kind of demonstrations, talking about registration, and again, amongst all the products that we have. Basically, at eShow, we have what we call 4 different buckets, but we have 32 different products. Pretty much, if you have an on-site, if you have an event need, we have software and we have management tools for it. Same thing with hardware. We pretty much, anything that you need from any of our components of our system, there is a hardware version for it that's going to make your registration, your on-site conference, exhibits, all of those needs available. So just talk to your sales team. If you're a current client, reach out to your product managers, right? Whether it's your registration manager, your conference manager, your exhibits manager, talk to them about your needs, tell them what you're facing, what you're looking for. We will be there to talk to anything that you need. Like I said, if you feel the need to reach out to myself or Brandon, we can redirect you if you need to talk to someone specifically, or we can basically answer questions for you. But that's basically what we're here for. That's one of the things at eShow we take great pride in, is that we know we provide top of the industry's customer service. It's something that we stand on and we're very proud of. Brandon, anything you want to end with?
I think you covered it.
All right, awesome. I want to thank everybody for coming. Look for your emails for what our next upcoming webinar is coming up. Our marketing team does a great job about letting everyone know and trying to cover a broad spectrum of topics that we cover here at eShow. A lot of sometimes it's going to be eShow related specifically. Then also we have to have think tanks, right? We like to talk about things that are happening within the industry, where we're not necessarily trying to sell you on eShow, but we're trying to talk to things that are happening within the industry to provide insights. Because like I said, we don't always want to make sure that we're selling eShow. We want to make sure that we're giving you information that we come across that is vital to everyone within the industry. So definitely look out for all of those as well too. Thank you for your time. And we will talk to you soon. I'm sure I'll see some of you very soon out in the open and in the wild. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.